Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning yoga zone practice. This is Annie from Eat Move Milwaukee. We're back in my home studio. Thank you, Milwaukee Recreation Department, for keeping us together at this time. I have another practice for you today that is going to focus on leg strength, flexibility, that sort of thing. I didn't get any requests, and so I sometimes find myself going back to some of the topics that have been highly requested in the past. So we're going to keep strengthening our legs today. So hopefully that will be interesting for you. All right, so if you have some blocks or a strap or any other props that you like to use, take a moment to find those. And now that I look at this, all of a sudden my angle got really narrow. Interesting. Okay. So, somebody maybe can help me. Did my camera angle just all of a sudden go super narrow? Because as I'm looking at this, I'm feeling like something just changed. Anybody there? Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I had it so you could see a nice wide angle, and now something has changed. So we will do our best. Oh, Facebook Live, you always keep me guessing. All right. Well, perhaps it's something to figure out for the next time. So, without further ado, we will get into our practice. Okay, we'll do our best. I will work with what we've got here. At least I can do this. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start today on our bottoms. You might place a block under your hips. Let those legs cross, the knees fall down to the side. You could also have those legs out in front of you, or if there's another way that you like to start seated, you could try that. Just let your breath go. Notice if you can let out some audible exhalations, loosening up that path in your body so that breath can flow more easily. Really focus on lengthening that breath. Maybe you assign a count to your in breaths and out breaths and try to increase that count with each round. Excuse me. Picture that breath flowing all the way up to the crown of the head, where you experience a slight pause, and then follow that breath all the way down to the base of the spine, where you notice another pause before it turns into your next round of breath. See if you can lengthen that spine a little bit more. Draw that navel in towards the backbone. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. See if you can bring your attention to that space just above the brow line, the third eye as it may be called. See if you can focus your inner vision straight to that spot. What do you see? What do you sense? As you breathe in and out, maybe you notice that spot above the brow line expanding and contracting as you take each round. Take another breath here, and then I invite you to set your intention for this practice today. What brought you here? What are you seeking? What do you hope to focus on during this 45-minute practice? One more round of breath. And we'll bring our hands to heart center. Notice the base of the thumbs touching the chest. And just take a moment to notice each finger pressing into that on the other hand. We'll rub those hands together, creating a little bit of heat. And then gently bring those warmed hands to cup over the closed eyes. Start to open the eyes, readjusting to the light of your space. And let those hands drop away. If you have a block underneath those sit bones, you could remove that now. We'll warm up the spine. So those hips are part of our leg focus today. Not as much as we'll focus on the upper and lower, but we will also be using those hips. So let's start to make some circles through those hips, waking them up, noticing how that feels. Take your time here. Inhale as you come around the back. Exhale forward. You might close your eyes and just picture that energy swirling up the center channel, the Sushumna, supporting all of those chakras, all of those energy centers, those main energy centers in our body. Take it in the other direction. Imagine creating that energy that's feeding all of those different energy centers as we warm up the spine here. Stay with your breath. One more round. And all the way back up. Let's take those arms up as we sit tall. And exhale, fold. And again, I thank you for your patience as my camera angle has changed suddenly today. So we'll do our best to keep it within the frame. And I'll do my best to give you descriptions and verbal cues if I'm going to be outside of that box. Inhale up again. Let's take these arms behind us, pointing the fingers towards the glutes. Open up the heart. Notice that little bend in the back. And release. Take the arms up to the sky again. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's take it over to the right. Reach up. Try to stretch and straighten that arm as much as you can. Take it back to the sky. And exhale over to the other side. Reach through those fingertips and back up. And then we'll take a twist to that first side. Left hand goes to right knee. Find length in the spine as you breathe in. And then exhale, find depth in that twist. Back to the sky on an inhale. And exhale, let's take it to the other side. Back to the center on your next inhale. And float those arms straight down to heart center. We'll take a few rounds of breath here. Not an official pranayama, but definitely a mindful breathing exercise. So we take the arms up on a big inhale, gather energy. Link those fingers, exhale, send it out. hollowing that back. Inhale up, and exhale, float those arms down. We'll take it up again. Inhale, link those fingers and hollow out. Exhale. Back to the sky. Take this at your own pace for a few more rounds. You can close your eyes and just really slowly notice the movement of the spine, the movement of the breath. Notice that Ujjayi breath, that oceanic breath. Letting that air pass over the back of the throat as you exhale. Let's take one more round here. Exhale, release. All the way up. Really extend that spine and let it go. And then we'll gently bring those legs out in front of us. Just take your time as you stretch them out. Give them a little shake. Maybe you give a little tap here along the legs, noticing any tender spots or soreness in those muscles. What's the story about what those legs have done for you this week? What are they telling you right now as you just kind of scan up and down? Let's release the flesh from under those sit bones. Root into the earth. Plant those hands beside you. Find length here as we lift up out of the hips, and notice that engagement through the quadriceps. You can have those feet flexed. You could certainly point them. But as we flex those feet, you might even notice those heels come off. See what kind of strength you can feel here in the upper legs. Press the back of the knees into the earth. Keep that tall spine. Keep lifting up out of those hips. This may not look like much of a movement, but hopefully you can feel it quite intensely in your body. So again, we can balance here by placing the hands beside the hips. You might even take those arms out to the sides, dropping shoulders away from the ears. Keep lifting up out of those hips. Pull that navel into the spine. Roll those shoulders up and down. And breathe. One more breath here. Press those heels forward. And release. Shake out those legs once again. I'm going to move into the hip flexors a little bit more. So we plant those hands again, and starting with that left leg, we're just going to lift and lower that leg. Not only are we working the hip flexor, which we did, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, but definitely firing up that quadricep as well. Stay with your breath as you lift and lower. And other side. Maintain that tall spine. So try not to lean back. Keeping it upright in that L shape as much as possible. One more. And release. Shake out those legs once again. Let's bring those knees wide, soles of the feet together here. And just rock back and forth for a moment, anchoring those sit bones once again. Holding on to the feet, the ankles, whatever would feel right. Find length in that spine. Inhale, and then exhale, start to fold over those legs. Inhale, reach the crown of the head out. Exhale, melt it down. Back up to the sky. Let's take those arms up again as we inhale, and then sweep them behind us, pointing those fingers towards the glutes again. And we can open that chest here, and as you open the chest, melt those knees down a little bit more. slowly just release here, relax into this posture. Find length again. And then exhale as you melt those knees down. I'm getting a cramp in my tricep. Let's take those arms back up to the sky and just float them down here. So we're going to move on to our backs, keeping the soles of those feet together. Let's slowly walk down. I'm going to be checking to make sure I'm in the frame still here. Okay, so far so good. Bring those arms out to the sides, reaching through those fingertips. Maybe you wiggle and tap those fingers, spreading out that whole palm, that whole hand on the earth. Take a big breath in here with the knees wide. And then exhale, let's twist that left knee over to the right. Inhale, open. And exhale, take right over to left. Squeeze those knees together as much as you can. We're just there for a moment. Inhale, open. And exhale, take left over to right. And even out the sides. And then find yourself back in the center. We're going to start to raise those legs up. So the soles of the feet are together. As you raise those legs, you might find that the soles of the feet come apart. Reach up for those ankles. So those legs can be bent. And then just start to gently bend and straighten the legs here. This is it's like a forward fold, but in a different orientation. So notice how that neck feels. If it's too much strain, you can release. And then I encourage you to release. And we will press those heels up to the sky. Really press, press, press. Noticing that engagement here again. So this is the same movement that we just did on the floor, but a different orientation. So we're pressing those heels away from us, flexing those toes back, and finding that strength through the upper legs. Keep reaching those heels up, but don't hold the breath. Take another breath in, press the heels up, and then as you exhale, let those knees go wide. So this is sort of like a plie in first position if you were standing up, and even if you don't have any ballet knowledge. But that's if we were squatting from that standing position. So we're going to keep pressing up to the sky. So now my toes are turned out, and bring it in. So very slowly, bringing those legs in, and then pressing the heels out. Inhale as those knees come in slowly. And exhale, press those heels away. Keeping those toes turned out. As you straighten those legs, think about zipping up the calves. You're going to bring the calves together. Zipping it right up. Unzipping as those legs come apart. And then zip it up, press those heels to the sky. Let's take one more. Reach up. And we can turn those toes, those feet back in towards each other. And just find some movement here through the ankles. Maybe shake out those legs a little bit. Press those heels up again on an inhale. And then exhale, slowly lower that right leg. See how slowly you can drop it down. Press the lower back into the earth. So this is a core engagement here, but also strength through that right leg. Press that heel away. See if you can hover that leg. Then inhale slowly up. Take your time. Exhale, release that left leg. Again, how slowly can you bring that leg towards the earth? Keep drawing that lower back towards your mat. And maybe you hover this leg here. Inhale it back to the sky slowly. And then we'll gently draw those knees in towards the armpits. Soles of the feet shine up to the sky. So if they're shining forward like this, see if you can change the angle of those knees. Draw those knees in towards the armpits, and then find some kind of a bind in your happy baby. So either drawing those thighs in towards the torso. Maybe you find some kind of a bind with hands and legs. Or you take peace fingers to the big toes, lift up for a moment, and then drape that spine back onto the earth. flattening it out, broadening the collarbone, laying those shoulder blades flat on the earth. And you might find some movement here. Pause here in the center as you take a breath in, and then exhale, stretch out that right leg. Inhale back to center, exhale, take it to the other side. And if that leg doesn't go straight quite yet or at all, that's okay. Notice what your edge may be here. Maybe for a breath or a half a breath, you can really stretch out that leg. But within your limits, there's no need to tear a muscle because we're trying to make our legs go wider. This is your practice. Be safe, be smart, but also know when there's space to challenge yourself. Even out the sides. Release that bind. Take those legs in towards each other. Extend them up to the sky. Once again, press, inhale. Exhale, lower both of them down. Press the lower back into the mat. Slowly, slowly, how can you challenge yourself? Hover the legs maybe. And then we'll draw them into the chest. Extend them out, keeping those legs above the mat the whole time. Inhale. Exhale. So this is core work, but we're also strengthening those legs. Stay with that breath. Most important part here of this movement is the breath. One more. Exhale. Draw those knees in again and plant those feet about hip distance apart. Moving into a bridge series here, we're going to take a couple of static bridges and then some movement to strengthen those legs. So hands are down by the sides. Really walk those heels in towards the glutes. Start by relaxing those shoulders into the mat. Notice the neck and the chin. And then in your next inhalation, press into the earth with those hands and start to lift those hips. Maybe you can walk those heels in a little closer to the glutes once you arrive. Keep lifting up those hips. Imagine a straight line between those knees and the shoulders. Everybody's body is different. You may have a slight arch in the back. You may have a huge arch in the back. Just notice where you are. Squeeze those thighs together. Strength through those legs. Stretch through the quadriceps. One more breath in, lift higher. Exhale, slowly lower down. Releasing that stretch. Next breath in, we take those hips to the sky once again, reaching them up, way, way, way up. Big breath in here, reach up. And then exhale, slowly lower down. All the way down. And then one more breath in, raise those hips up to the sky. We're going to hold them there this time. Press that left foot into the earth, and we'll bring that right knee into the chest. Lower that foot down, and draw the other knee in. So this marching bridge, strengthening the legs. Exhale as that knee comes in towards the chest. Inhale down. Keep sending those hips high. Don't forget to lift those hips. One more each side. Feet plant on the earth. Lift the hips one more time. And then slowly lower down. We'll walk those feet towards each other, taking those knees wide one more time as we move into some butterfly bridges here. So we'll take about 5 of these. We're going to lift the hips with one breath and lower with the exhalation. So we're not holding at the top this time. So prepare to lift hips and take that breath in. Take it up to the sky. Inhale, really engage those legs and the glutes. Exhale down. Try to take it in through the nose and out through the nose. That's something that I find challenging. I always want to release through my mouth. So see if you can take it in and out through the nose. And release. We'll bring those knees together, roll to one side, and start to make your way up and then into a tabletop position. So if you wanted to do something fancy here, you could plant those hands, plant the feet, and right over to that tabletop. All right, so we plant those arm joints straight over each other. So we have wrists, elbows, and shoulders stacked. Those hips are right over the knees, and then just relax. I have this baggy shirt on, so it's hard to tell if my belly is actually reaching down to the earth or if it's neutral. So just trust that I am pulling my navel into my spine, as I encourage you to do. Let's stretch this leg out here, pressing through that heel, stretching the calf and the bottom of the foot. Lift that leg up, reach through the heel. Take a couple of breaths here as you balance. Press through that heel, so we're engaging that leg. And then we're going to draw that leg out to the side. If you can keep it off the ground, excellent. If you need to draw that toe along the earth, that's fine too. Try to keep the same amount of weight in each hand. And maybe you can lift that leg a little higher, and maybe you can draw it straight out from the hip. Also finding some side abdominal engagement here. One more breath in as you lift up, and then slowly float that leg back and all the way down. Step it out. Reach through that left leg, stretch through the heel, press, 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 stretching the calf, the bottom of the foot. And then lift that leg up, and we're going to take it out to its own side. So slowly drawing it through the air, equal weight through those arms. Don't let that elbow bend on the right arm. And notice if you can bring that leg straight out so I can see that, if I can see my toes here in the frame, then I know it's too far. Keep lifting it higher. Pull the navel into the spine, straighten those arms. And then back behind you and tuck it in. Let's widen those knees here, and we'll take those hips back to the heels for child's pose. Come back to your breath. Maybe you have found that your heart rate is already elevated here through some of this strength work. Just take a moment to breathe more deeply. Try to slow that breath. And then we'll come back up towards that tabletop position. So take your time in bringing those knees back in. Plant those hands. We're going to move into some bear pose, which is strengthening for the legs as well as the abdominals. All right, so we start by tucking the toes, pressing into the hands, pressing into the toes. Let's lift up those knees. So pull that navel into the spine and notice that strength through the legs. We have about an inch or two off the earth. If you have your knees up just enough to put a piece of paper under there, that's cool too. Just not going all the way up into a down dog quite yet. Lower down. We'll place those feet flat on the mat this time. Press into those hands again and lift. So notice that great stretch through the tops of the feet. I think it's a great stretch. Maybe it doesn't feel as good for you. See if you can find some enjoyment in it. Strength through those legs. Slowly lower. Let's tuck those toes again. When you're ready, lift the knees slightly. Draw the abdominals in. Breathe. Lower those knees down. One more time, tops of the feet on the earth. And we bring those knees up. And lower down. We'll tuck those toes, bring those hands out just ahead of the shoulders. And this time we lift those hips slowly up to our first downward facing dog. So pedal this out here. Take any movements that you might need or enjoy here as you explore your downward facing dog. You might walk those feet in towards the hands a little bit, pressing those heels down, noticing when you walk those feet closer to the hands, how does that change the position of your heels? Those heels don't have to touch the earth in down dog, but they might. Raise that right leg up to the sky when you're ready. We bend the knee and open up that hip. So notice if that allows you to press that left heel farther into the earth. And then make some circles here. So this is where I can see I'm out of frame a little bit. So do your best to follow my cues and just drawing some circles with that top knee. Extend that leg back to the sky. And then we bring it through for our low lunge on this side. I'm going to use some blocks to stabilize myself. So my front knee is over the ankle. And ideally that back knee will be behind the hip. So not in a kneeling position, but really bring that knee behind the hip. So we're getting a deep stretch through the quadricep on the left leg in this case. And a stretch through those hips as well. The top of that back, the top of the foot on that back leg is flat on the earth, not tucked. Try to relax that leg and get a little bit more length in this stretch. Sink those hips forward, keeping that front knee over the ankle. And then you might reach those arms up on an inhale. Sink those hips down. Stretch that quadricep on the left leg. Reach up. And then bring those hands down on an exhalation. And we'll plant that left hand inside of the right foot. So you could use a block, bringing that floor up to you. You might have your hand flat on the earth. So you decide. We all have different proportions, and those props are really helpful for working with those because not everybody is the same. So now we inhale this right arm up to the sky, taking a twist, trying to bring that hand straight up. And if that twist seems a little bit limited and you feel like bringing a balance into it, you can bring that back knee off and notice if that allows you to open a little bit more. If you're taking that knee off the earth, press through that back heel, try to find as much length as you can in that back leg, straightening it out. Take your gaze up towards that hand. One more breath here, and then slowly bring it down. And we'll take that half splits, moving those hips back towards the heels. Take those hips straight back. Find length here in the spine. So I'm reaching the crown of my head in one direction. And then I'm exhaling and I'm finding some length here. Instead of crunching over, I'm keeping that long spine as much as possible. And then we'll shift forward and frame that front foot. Tucking the toes on the left foot, press into the earth, and then send that leg back up to the sky and all the way down. Pedal it out. Press into your down dog. When you're ready, lift that left leg up, stretch it way up, bend at the knee, open up that hip, and then draw those circles with that leg. Try to keep equal weight between the hands. I'm finding my right elbow wants to bend, so press into the earth. And then we'll extend that left leg up with a breath in and sweep it through to low lunge on this side. Finding your stability here in that low lunge first. So again, with that knee behind the hip, you've got an opportunity to really stretch this quadricep and also the hip flexor. Scissor the thighs by bringing that left hip back, right hip forward. And then when you're ready, we inhale those arms up. Sink those hips down. Try to square those hips forward. One more breath in. Exhale those hands down to heart center. And then we're going to plant that right hand on the inside of that foot. Again, you could have a block there if that helps. Take your next breath in by opening up twisting to the left. Keep pressing into the earth with the right hand. Option 2, straighten that right leg and notice if that twist gets a little deeper. One more breath in. Slowly bring it back down. We'll plant hands to frame that front foot. And then step that left leg back to the sky. Reach it up. And back to your downward facing dog. Pedal it out. We're going to walk those feet a little bit ahead of a full downward dog position and bring them as wide as the mat. Keep pressing that heart towards the thighs. Lift up your right arm. You might just float that arm. Keep pressing into those heels. Notice the strength through the legs and the abdominals here. You might cross that right hand over to the right calf and pull yourself closer to that leg, looking under the left arm. Definite strength through the abdominals here, but also strength through the legs. Maybe they're shaking. Place that right hand back down. Lift the left arm. Either float it or reach for the outside of that right calf, and then draw yourself closer to that leg, looking under the right arm. Strength through the legs. Breath is moving. And slowly release. We'll walk those feet back to our downward facing dog. Press through those shoulders. Press that heart towards the thighs. Take those knees wide and send your hips back to heels in your child's pose. Really try to stretch out, lengthen that spine here. Draw those hips back to the heels. And then we'll bring ourselves back to that downward facing dog. Bend the knees, start to walk those feet up to the hands. Once you arrive there, you can take a little swing from side to side and then gently make your way up. And this is where most of my body gets cut off. So, not sure what happened here. All right, we're not going to dwell. So I'm going to take my left leg and bring that knee up. I'll turn sideways so you can see it here. I'm going to bring this knee up, trying to bring it so that knee is in line with the hip. So you can balance here. I'm actually resting my hand on the windowsill. You might be balancing. Press through that base leg. You can keep the knee a little bit soft, but not, I mean, you could really bend it if you wanted to strengthen the quadricep there. Give yourself that support. Then, in order to strengthen the quadricep and the hip flexor more, you might start to extend that leg. You could also have a strap around the ball of the foot, holding that up, which would give you an opportunity to bring arm strength into it as well. Keep drawing that leg up. Keep that torso straight up too. Try not to lean back. One more breath in. And then we bend that leg again and send it down, taking it to the other side. First we raise that knee up, flexing that foot. You can also use a strap here, starting with that strap around the ball of the foot here and bringing this leg up. And then maybe we extend that leg out here. Keep that torso tall. Reach through that heel. This always gives me a little bit of a cramp through the quadricep or the hip flexor, especially if I'm not breathing. Keep that length. One more breath in. And then we start to bend the leg and send it down. Shake out those legs. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, float those arms down. Step back through your plank. Press the floor away here. One breath in. And then exhale, we'll lower down either knees, chest, chin, or we shift forward and lower through Chaturanga. Inhale up through Cobra. Exhale, slowly release. And we'll make our way onto our backs. Once you arrive, draw your knees into your chest. Rock back and forth. Let those knees drop over to the right. Take a couple breaths here in a twist. Inhale back through center. And we'll exhale those knees over to the other side. Back up. And we'll send those legs up to the sky again. So give them a little shake. Move through those ankles. Press those heels up once again. Inhale. Exhale, slowly drop that right leg. Inhale it up to the sky. And exhale, slowly drop the left. Inhale it back up. And draw those knees in. Bring feet down to the earth. Place those hands on the belly, moving into our 4, 7, 8 breath. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, blow out through a straw. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it in again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go through the mouth. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take 2 more rounds of that 4, 7, 8 breath. Remember, this is a good one for anxiety, depression, insomnia, general calming. Take your time finishing this pranayama. When you're finished, find any other movements or stretches that would help you to complete your practice today, and then gently stretch out into your final relaxation in Shavasana. Breathing normally there. If you've never tried it, you might bring a block under the head. It's an interesting experience for this final relaxation pose. Start to bring your attention back to your space, knowing that you can take this Shavasana longer if you wish, beyond the close of our practice. If you're staying with me in closing this asana practice, start to find some movement in your body now, waking up those joints and those muscles, stretching long here. Maybe bring those knees into the chest, rock it back and forth. Make your way to one side of your mat. Take another breath there and just notice. Just observe how you feel. No judgment. When you're ready, we find our seated position. Again, you can keep the eyes closed. I invite you to bring hands to heart center. Again, notice the base of the thumbs touching the chest. no matter where you are on your journey in this week, this year, or this lifetime, I thank you for pausing this morning to share this practice with all of us. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming to your mats today. Thank you once again for your patience as we have technical challenges. Hopefully you were able to see or at least hear everything you needed to today. This class flew. You have this in your repertoire though now for some different ways to strengthen and stretch those legs. Planting a little seed for 2 weeks from now. So the in-person classes go through next week, and then we have a 2-week break. I'm going to be here in our live classes an additional week. So this is still, regular programming next week, but then that week in between there, we have 2 weeks, a week before Thanksgiving and a week of Thanksgiving, where there would typically be a break for the in-person classes. I'm going to have some extra classes online that week of the, the 16th, I believe. So check out the event listings on my Eat Move Milwaukee Facebook page and put that on your calendar, so hopefully we can meet here a couple of extra times that week. Whether you're in my in-person classes or not, you have a few opportunities to practice online and keep that consistency as we move into the holidays. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace to you.